Hi, this is Brian from Paradise Arcade. Oh, shoot. Everybody keeps telling me I need a fancy splash screen. Hold on a second. Alright, back to business. Obviously, I'm not a graphic designer or a videographer, but I'm an engineer. So I'm going to show you what I did and show you why I did it, and we'll skip the fancy effects. What we have here is the OBS-MX button that I'm really proud to present here. We introduced these at EVO. They got some great reviews coming back. We wanted to check out a few things, make sure we had a few things spot on before we did the full release in the store. Get set up here in Minnesota, which is where we now are in our nice warehouse with my arcade that we'll be taking you on a tour of in the upcoming weeks. But I wanted to go through these buttons as we're launching them tomorrow. What you see here on my right, your left, is the OBS-MX series of buttons. There are multiple different Cherry MX switches that are mountable on these PCBs, and right now we have two colors of caps, black and white. What you see here on my left, your right, are some of the standard buttons out on the market that I want to talk about and kind of highlight some of the features of here. So one of the things that I wanted to say, we come up with things out of necessity in the shop. When we see something that we like, need, or want, we try to go out and design something better to make it work better. One of the things that we're working on right now are things like monitor boards, because our remote boards are breaking on some of our monitors and we want replacements. They are available in some places in the market, but we want to do them a little bit better, so we're redesigning them and bringing them in. The OBS-MX button was a similar type of evolution. Another company had come up with a great button that works very well, is very reliable using the Cherry MX base, but when I'm playing Tekken and when I'm playing some of the Street Fighter games, I don't feel like I have the responsiveness that I want. The button requires slightly more push than is typical on a Sanwa or a Famitsu button. So what I want to do is I want to sit here and show you what it takes to actually actuate one of these buttons. So we have a continuity tester here, which will work, and if you look, you can see how much the button needs to be depressed in order to actuate it. It actuates very reliably, it's very accurate, it's very precise, but it requires approximately 2 millimeters of travel in order to actuate. You come over to a standard OBSF, and the actuation distance is much shorter. It's also very reliable, it's also very precise, but this requires approximately 1.2 millimeters to actuate. We wanted to get the reliability and a short throw. So what we did is we came up with the OBS-MX. What I want to show you is how quickly these actuate. These actuate over about half the distance of a standard OBSF and about a third the distance of the other standard Cherry switches on the market. We do this through our own unique design, and this all drops into a standard OBSF rim. So you don't need to throw out your old buttons. What you do is you just buy the insert and you drop it in. I wanted to show you how that happens and how you can do it, and it's very simple. Some of the key things for our OBS-MX buttons that I'll go over right now. It doesn't require anything fancy for connections. You've got your standard 110 connections down here. They're just on small leads. The PCB and microswitch fit right into the existing housing, meaning you don't need to get rid of your old shells. You can actually keep them and drop either the clear or the black caps in. Let me show you how this is done. You take a standard OBSF, pop the microswitch out. So if you can see, I just squeeze the microswitch on the bottom. Then you can either push, which is what the Sanwa guys showed us to do. I like to use something to kind of push the tabs up there. And what happens is this whole assembly just pops out. What you're left with is a shell. Now here's the really complicated part. Here's how our buttons come, the OBS-MX buttons. You take these, you take the white part on the bottom, you line it up with the little hole for the microswitch on the bottom there. If you turn around, you can see you have to kind of line it up a little bit, get it to fit. Once it's in, you push and you're done. That's it, installed. Now you have a great working OBS-MX. We'll take this and transfer it over here. At EVO, some people were actually adding some small dabs of hot glue to the bottom. We do have a Rev C coming out shortly that will address some of these concerns. But people have really liked this version. There's really nothing that's going to change for the sensitivity. So if we look, again, reliable, precise, and accurate. I want to thank everybody for watching. These buttons will be available on Monday. We're looking forward to launching them. We have a variety of different switch colors available, but we only have 2 colors of caps at this time. Of note, you cannot insert artwork into the cap. The caps are a solid piece. We'll address some of these points later. Thanks for watching, and game on.